What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another Slightly Nocturnal show. I'm Doc. I'm here with Brew. Today is January 21st, 2019. What's going on, man?
Oh, not a lot, buddy. Just hanging out.
Yeah, how's the week been going?
Oh, good so far. A little early to tell, though.
Well, did you watch President Trump's speech on Saturday?
I did not.
So he
I,
he he gave like I guess some give and take and tried to make a deal with the Democrats for the wall and opening up the government again. And I guess before he even made the speech, the Democrats were like, "Yeah, we're not taking that deal." So he gave it
yeah.
on Saturday, and then because of the holiday today, Martin Luther King Day, they'll be back in session tomorrow. And supposedly Mitch McConnell has some kind of deal that he's going to try to do tomorrow. So we shall see. So
Yeah, I heard something about he offered to extend DACA by 3 years,
right.
and they declined that, which was pretty amazing, seeing as how that's like the Democrats' baby.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised at it too. I would think that they would try to come to some kind of compromise this week, because if they don't, the federal employees will miss another paycheck.
Yeah.
I myself have to go in on Thursday and re-sign for my next 30-day furlough, so that ought to be real fun.
Yeah, I bet you're real thrilled about that, huh?
Just so fucking excited, let me tell you. Anyways, so. But we shall see.
Yeah, I honestly, no matter how much I don't want it to, I'm pretty sure it's going to drag on for a little while longer.
I fucking hope not. For God's fucking sake. It's gone on long enough.
Well, the biggest thing is, I mean, not to bash on anyone's political party, because obviously everyone has a right to vote for whoever they want to vote for, whoever they think is going to be the better option for the country. But Democrats are seeing this as a way to stonewall Trump into getting a second election.
Right.
Because obviously the general public isn't going to see this as an entire government problem. They're going to see it as a Trump problem.
Right. Yeah, and some of the Trump supporters are starting to turn on him. So I just don't know. I think both sides are just so stonewalled in their things that they don't want to, it'll seem like a point of weakness if they give in on either side. So
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, but yeah, it's just a mess is what it is. And the longer it goes on, it's just the more mess it is.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know if it'll take something drastic like we talked about last week, like the TSA just not coming to work at all. Or
Yeah.
if it will, like like the food stamp thing. Because after this, like, they all got paid yesterday, and after that's it, like, there's no more money. So
yeah, and so I don't know. I'm pretty sure if this does go on for too long, we're going to see a bunch of the welfare users and the food stamps users. I'm pretty sure we're going to start seeing a little bit of rioting here and there.
Yeah, I mean, people going hungry, that's a big deal. So we fought wars over tea before. Salt. So so I just want to touch real quick on the Brexit thing with the UK.
Okay.
So and as somebody who's not a citizen of the UK, like, I don't know a ton about it, but from what I do know, Theresa May got the vote. They voted her in vote no confidence, and then so what that means is they have to, like, vote to keep her in or to keep her out, and I think she only was kept in by like 19 or 16 votes or something like that. And so, but I think she's the one who initiated the vote too, which was kind of ironic. She initiated the vote of no confidence in herself. So
yeah.
but yeah, so It looks like they're trying to renegotiate a deal to put it out 6 more months or something like that. So it just sounds like a big mess. So.
Dude, it's from what I've been reading, it's a huge debacle.
Yeah, and I wish Thor was around, and I'd ask him to come on, and he keeps up on all that stuff better than I do. So.
Well, he better.
Yeah, it does affect him a little bit more than me and you.
Mm-hmm.
So, did you see this article about Vice President Pence and his wife defend the Christian values in the White House?
You know, I briefly read it.
So
I don't know. I think good for you, man. You know, when if you're willing to stand up for what you believe in, you got my support, no matter what.
I just think that I don't know. Like, I agree with that statement. I do wholeheartedly, but I don't agree with pushing that shit through the government. If that makes sense.
No. So. Well, I mean, so obviously everyone that's listening knows by now that I am a hardcore anti-gun advocate. Like, I don't want gun control. Right. The less gun control, the better. But I'm kind of like, the way I see the whole gay marriage, all that stuff. If you want to marry a dude, marry a dude. If you want to have gender reassignment surgery, do it. But don't drag me into it.
Right.
You know, I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to participate in it, I guess you could say. But at the same time, you know, I kind of expect that same respect back, with my right to own firearms.
Yeah, I think it's kind of hard to have it both ways. You know, they almost go hand in hand. If you want the freedom of guns, you're gonna have to have the freedom of, you know, gender and all that other good stuff. So
yeah, which like I said, I might not exactly agree with it, but it's not my life.
Right. I think a lot of people that don't like guns feel the same way. Now, there is a lot of people that feel that we should not have guns at all, you know.
Yeah.
But I think that a lot of people, you know, they're what do you call it? Impartial to it. They just, you know,
yeah.
If you want to own a gun, that's fine. I'm not owning one. You know, that kind of attitude.
Mm-hmm.
So. And that's how I feel about gay marriage and stuff. I don't know. I don't think it should be. If people should just be able to. It's not hurting anybody. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They should
Exactly.
do what the fuck they want to do. It's their life choice, not mine.
Now, there's been this big deal going on here in Idaho. While we're on this topic, it's been going on for a while here. They had an inmate in the Idaho State Penitentiary that was cutting themselves and self-harm, this, that, their thing, had been on suicide watch a lot. And they said, you know, if I got my gender reassignment surgery, I'd be all better. So a judge ruled that while they were in the prison's care, that inmate could get the gender reassignment surgery paid for by taxpayer dollars. I am so against that. So against that. And mainly it's because it's what's the word? It's
definitely a selective surgery.
Yeah, it's a selective surgery, but it's also a oh damn it! I just had the word. Anyhow, we'll move on. I'll figure it out later. But it's not covered by insurance.
Mm-hmm.
No insurances cover that.
Right.
So why should my tax dollars have to cover it?
No, I agree. I do.
You know, and
yeah, go ahead.
And luckily, the governor of Idaho overturned the judge.
Oh, well, there you go.
So we don't have to pay for it. But it was this huge deal in Idaho for 3.5 weeks before the governor decided to overturn the judgment. But it's no different than me saying, you know, I'm not happy right now. If I had a Barrett 50 cal, I'd be happier, and the taxpayer buying me a Barrett 50 cal, you know.
Right.
It costs about the same amount of money.
Yeah. It's the same thing that, you know, when they have those prisoners that need heart transplants or stuff I don't think that we should pay for them at all. If they're in prison for life and they're gonna be there for life with no chance of parole. Why would I prolong their life with and we use taxpayer money to and spend a shitload of money doing those kind of surgeries?
Yeah, and then you got to continue to spend money on them after you've saved their life to keep them alive in prison.
Right. I just don't agree. I don't agree with that type of money spent. I don't think that's money spent well.
Yeah. Now, like, if they're only in prison for 3 or 4 years, and they've got a very life-threatening issue occur, I don't think we should treat pre-existing conditions while they're in prison. You hear stories about it all the time in the big cities where, like, the homeless people, when they start getting really sick and stuff, they'll commit a crime so they can go to jail and get medical attention.
Right.
They'll spend 90 days in jail, roof over their head, hot meals, and medical attention. Like, that is textbook using the system.
Right.
But it's kind of the same way. I don't think they should be able to, get a pre-existing condition covered while they're in prison. Like, if you've been smoking for 30 years and you go to prison, you shouldn't be able to get your lung cancer treatments covered by taxpayer dollars.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. Yeah, I think that if it's a pre-existing condition, and now if something came up where you developed something in prison and you were going to get out, I think I agree that you should get some kind of help. But going to prison on purpose to get medical help is, I think that's something that we should not pay for.
Yeah. Now, like you said, if you develop a heart murmur while you're in prison, by all means, treat the shit out of it.
Right.
But don't be treating some death row inmate.
Yeah, I agree. Like, if you're in there for life and, without parole and that kind of thing, like, why would we prolong your life and spend more money on you? You're going to be there,
for the rest of your life.
Yeah. You obviously did something to get, that kind of sentence. So.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
Yeah, they don't hand those out for Grand Theft Auto. Like,
right.
But no. So sorry, pulled us way off topic there for a minute.
It's a good topic. What about, like, what do you think of? So it's about the border issue. Like, these people that. What should we do with people that we detain that are illegals? Should we care for them? Like, what should we do? Like, if they're in that process and we're trying to extradite them back to their country, like, what kind of care should they receive?
So if we're in the middle of deportation, they had that big issue where the kid died from the flu, that very young child, and we were giving him medical attention when he died. Honestly, him getting busted by Border Patrol was probably the best thing that could have happened to that kid.
Right.
If not, his death would have been a lot quicker and probably a lot more miserable. And I wholeheartedly agree with treating these. I mean, they're still people. Now, whether they're breaking the law to try to get into a country, whatever. I mean, give them the treatment we can until they get back to their own country.
Yeah, I think if we're holding somebody, we've caught them, I think they deserve, some kind of treatment, medical.
Yeah.
I guess I would give them the same attention that we give a prisoner.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
I mean, obviously, if they're young kids being drugged across the border by parents and they're extremely ill, I think we should give them a little bit more just because they are kids. They probably didn't have any sort of say in the whole thing.
Right. What is that cutoff age, do you think? Do you think it's 18 or do you think it's younger? Or?
I think it's probably 12.
12.
I mean, that sounds like a good cutoff age. I mean, after 12, we can still give them the care, but not the same care that we'd give like a younger kid. Because the younger kids are so much more susceptible to things. Their immune systems haven't built. Their organs are still like a very vital stage in development to where an illness can really screw up some organs.
Right. What about, so you heard about what's his face, Cohen, the guy that is going to, been going to testify against President Trump and all that. What's your thoughts on all that?
He's testifying. Is it still on the Russia case?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they just need to let the whole Russian collusion thing go. It's been proved time and time again. The Democratic FBI investigated it and found nothing. I mean, at what point do we finally just tell these people, you know what, we're seeing through your lies. We're seeing what you're trying to do. Quit. And quit giving them the attention that they're hunting for.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see what he says. I know he showed up the other day somewhere and had a black eye and a broken arm. And I didn't really read what happened to him. I don't know if he got mugged or something. But I thought that was kind of hilarious. The first thought, this is bad. The first thought I thought of was like, they paid to have somebody beat him up, like on purpose, so that it would look like, you know what I'm saying? So it looked like he.
Yeah. I found a meme on Facebook. It was in the comments section of a post, and it was Hillary Clinton pointing up, and it said, "This is why I suicide people."
Oh Jesus! Now I firmly believe that Hillary and Bill Clinton have like killed people, have like paid people to kill people in their past.
Oh yeah.
So.
I firmly believe it too.
So.
I mean, there's just a lot there.
Did you see?
We could.
Go ahead.
We could run away with that forever.
Oh man, yeah. Did you see that? Were you able to see the eclipse last night?
No, we had cloud cover.
So we were up for it, and it never got red. It got brown, but it never got red for us here. So, and I thought for sure we'd be able to see it because we live at like almost 7,000 feet elevation.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, it was too cloudy here. We've had some weird weather.
Did you guys
like
get
today?
Snow?
Not recently. It rained all day yesterday. And then
has it been warm then?
Today it was 39 degrees.
Yeah, that's warm for January in Idaho, right? Like
hell yeah, it is. Well, this area of Idaho.
Yeah.
So like in Boise, which is 6 hours away, they've been like up in the 50s all week. So
we almost were at 60 degrees here today, which is unseasonably warm. Now tomorrow is supposed to be 32, so.
Yeah, see, and that's like the sun went down tonight, and it is absolutely frigid out there right now.
You guys expecting any more snow recently?
Not until the end of the week. But even then, it's Idaho. You can't predict the weather for 10 minutes.
Fair enough.
It's like yesterday, it rained. It was supposed to be sunny and 42. It rained all day.
So I forgot about this. Somebody tweeted to me, DM'd me, to ask you about ask us about things to avoid in a dealership, and I wanted to talk about that. I thought that would be a good topic for a little while.
Okay.
So, what are things like? I think the first thing is always the upsell, because it is everybody's job when you come in for an oil change, or no matter what you come for, to upsell you on something else. So, I mean, that's how they make their money. It's how, the service writer, the service manager, the mechanic, everybody makes money that way.
Yeah, so the biggest thing there is, you got to find a place that you trust. A place with a bunch of good people. And it's always kind of hard to tell who you can trust and who you can't in a sales setting, because like you said, they're trying to make a buck. But like when I was a technician, I never upsold anything that it didn't absolutely need.
Yeah, I was the same way. I think it was probably part of people's undoing. When you do, I would never sell something that you didn't need. Like, if the car wasn't going to, make it another 100 miles, I might mention it to you, but I would never, tell you, because I've watched service writers tell people, you need this, you need new brakes immediately.
Mm-hmm.
And there's 50% left on those brakes. Those brakes can go another 2,000, 3,000 miles before they need them.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and like I mean, like if it's getting close, I'll always note it on the work order.
Right.
But I never bid it, simply so that the service advisor wouldn't bid it. Because unfortunately, as a technician, I can't control my service advisors.
Right.
But like I never once sold anything the car didn't need. And I think that was one of my biggest pitfalls at Sheridan Motors, with the service manager there hating me. Was because I wasn't turning huge, customer pay hours, because I just refused to upsell work unless the cars actually needed it.
I mean, cars are like, you buy a car brand new and drive it off the lot, and now some cars don't do this, but 9 times out of 10, as soon as you drive it off the lot, you've lost like $6,000. So.
Yeah, so the number they say is 14%, and that's pretty much industry standard.
Is that the same in the camper world that you work in now?
No, campers you lose about 20% as soon as you drive them off the lot.
So it's more.
Yeah.
So back to cars, and we'll go back to campers in a minute. But is it better to go to a dealership, you think, or a mom and pop place? If you were brand new in a town and had to pick one, and you needed something done in your car, where would you go?
Obviously, I'd try the dealerships first, mainly because the dealerships might be individually owned, but they are still brand mandated.
Right.
So, like, Dodge requires their technicians to go to training.
A mom and pop place would not, right?
No. So, a mom and pop place, you could have. So let's stray away from mom and pop place real quick. So, my biggest issue with going to like Sears or Walmart to have my tires put on is that they literally get high school kids with no experience, hand them a tool set, slap them on the ass, and set them loose.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care how cheap it is. I don't want that touching my truck.
Right. I agree with you.
I've got to trust my life and other people's lives with the work that they've done.
Right.
So I always try to go to dealerships for my work. Now, there's a little bit of give and take that. If your dealership's just a shady, shitty dealership, obviously don't go there. Obviously, that's going to take some figuring out, to get it down whether your dealership is trustworthy or not. Like my Dodge dealership here in town, worthless. I'll never use it ever again. Ever again. I went there to have a recall performed on my Dodge, and they were the most. Yeah, oh, God.
I remember. Yep.
I made an appointment for a Tuesday, and it was like a week from the day that I called. So I go in on that day, and I'm standing there up at the service counter while all 4 of them are just sitting there typing away on their computer, looking up at me and then looking back down at their computers before finally one of them acknowledges my presence. And I was like, yeah, I got an appointment to be here at it's like 2:30 or something to have this recall done on my truck. And he looks, he's like, yeah, you're not on our calendar, and just keeps typing away on his computer like I wasn't even there again. And it's just like, well, then this is when I scheduled. I wrote it down. And he's like, no, that's not it. So finally one of the other guys looks, he's like, oh, you're not till next Tuesday. What the fuck, guys?
Yeah, definitely. What the fuck? So.
And then I drop it off, and I knew the recall because I had done a few of them at the Dodge dealership I was working at in the past. So I knew the recall. I knew it took 10 minutes. And they just didn't extend the recall out to my VIN when I was working at the other Dodge dealership. So I had to get it done instead of doing it myself. But it took them, I dropped it off at like 10:30 in the morning. I didn't get it back till 6.
Good.
Like that's ridiculous.
You think it's a lack of technicians there, or was it just...
No, they had plenty of techs.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think people they always feel like they're going to get ripped off no matter what they do when they go to a dealership or any kind of car maintenance or anything like that.
A lot of that
is. They automatically think it, and I think it's vindicated because it just happens everywhere. It seems like.
Oh yeah, and I mean, it's a horrible deal. I have actually chewed many a technician's asses that worked right beside me for doing that shit. I mean, I don't know if you remember who was working in the bay next to me.
Yeah,
up there.
I do. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to say any names, but he was infamous for trying to upsell shit cars didn't need.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
He was always trying to upsell tie rod ends, ball joints, and alignments.
And he's still working there.
Yeah.
So it tells you about the management there.
Yep.
So.
But I mean, it's like shit like that, and that's why mechanics have such a bad name. That's why shops have such a bad name.
Yeah. And another thing that's hard for people to swallow is the $90 or $110 an hour labor rate.
Or higher if you're in a bigger city.
Right. Now there's a lot that goes into that labor rate. I know it seems high, but and I'll just say it right away, like the labor rate, that's not what the mechanic is getting at all. Like nowhere near that shit.
I wish.
Yeah.
I'd still be turning wrenches.
Right. Yeah. I hear you. It's it goes to pay for three things. It goes to pay for the service department as a whole. It goes to pay for the dealership's lights, like the utilities, and then the third part goes to pay the mechanic. That's what it pays for.
Yeah. And it also has to pay for the mechanic's training.
Right. So if you look at it that way, it sounds better. I know it's expensive. It's expensive for me. Like, I'm getting ready to buy a used truck, and that's the first thing I think about is like, what if something breaks, and then
yeah.
So and another thing, like in the car world, power sports.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to work on like a 4-wheeler or a motorcycle or a snowmobile, older ones, it's not as hard, but new shit, like they design that shit on purpose. I know, especially in the power sports world, they make you can't even take off like crank cover cases now with a generic crank cover case tool. Like you gotta have and it might be specific to a year. Like an 01 to an 02 might be one tool, and if you have say you have a 01 Skidoo sled, like a snowmobile, and then you have an 05, and you want to change the belt or the chain on that shit, with whatever year, you might have to have 2 different fucking tools, but that, by the way, cost about $180 a piece. So
yeah, and see, like, I don't know,
I hate that
like
shit.
that's not a huge shock to me because I have been a mechanic for 7 years. I got $200,000 worth of tools laying around.
Right. But as a consumer, that shit sucks.
Yeah. As a consumer, it sucks. But like I said, to me, it's not that big of a shock because I'm used to it.
Oh my God.
I grew up in it.
And like all the so now there's plastic on everything, and the rivets. Like you pull a rivet out, a plastic rivet, you can't use that shit again. Like you gotta buy a whole, and you can't buy 2. You gotta buy like 10 or 50 at a time. And it's annoying. So.
Yeah. So. I mean, there's that, but so back to the labor rate real quick. I'm kind of touch on the campers again. So people think their $90 or $100 an hour labor rate is expensive. Our labor rate where I work now, working on camp trailers, take a guess at what it is.
$180 an hour.
Yeah, close, 145.
Yeah. Well, it's a different thing than a car. There's different training involved. Maybe it's it's in
there's a lot more
lot tighter space to be in there. So
not really. They don't have to do the mechanics yoga when they work on stuff in there. No, it requires. I mean, you got to have all the basic tools of a mechanic, carpenter tools.
Oh, fair enough.
Plumbing tools, and then electrician tools.
Yeah.
So you got to have the whole skill set there. You got to be able to build a cabinet and then turn around and run 120 volt,
Right.
So
that's why Google and YouTube are your friends if you feel comfortable doing it at home. So
even if you don't feel comfortable, watch a few videos and make yourself comfortable.
I think so too. I think more people need to be more hands-on if they want to save money. So,
Dude, that's how I learned how to build guns.
yep.
Watched a bunch of YouTube videos, and finally one day I was like, screw it, I'm ordering all the parts. And you know what? We're going on 4 years now, and that thing still hasn't blown up in my face. There's several thousand rounds for that gun. I think I'm on like 7,000 or 8,000 right now.
Nice. That's like, so my motorcycle that I have now,
Mm-hmm.
I needed to do, what did I need to do? I had to redo the forks on it. And I was like, oh, fuck. Like, I watched a bunch of videos on it. It just looked really fucking difficult. Like, you have to have this, like, not a press, but this, like, air tool to, like, push the spring down and pull a stopper out. And all I had to really do, in layman's terms, is, like, replace 2 corks, like you would on a wine bottle on the top. And mine are spring-loaded with, and they have oil in them. And the guy who had the bike before me did this, an upgrade to it, like a $900 upgrade on the shocks, on the front forks. And I didn't want to do it wrong, because I knew, like, it could be a mess. And I don't really know I've done forks on other things, on other bikes, but you know, when it's your own shit and you're like, you know, I really didn't want to, like, be in some mess where I couldn't, you know. The other part was that I don't live in the town I live in does not have a power sports dealership like I can just run down and get parts for. The shit's fucking 2 hours away. So, but I ended up doing it. It was fine, but it was just, I remember it was like nerve-wracking the whole fucking time I was doing it. So
the first repair I ever did to a vehicle that kind of like catapulted me into the automotive technician field, I had to do head gaskets on an '88 Ford F-150 in my driveway.
Yeah, how'd that go for you?
Went great. I ended up building the engine up in the driveway just over the summer. When I dynoed it, when I went to Wyotech, it was 452 horsepower. So
nice.
Out of 88 302.
The next big project I have to do is I have to replace the rear axle in my girlfriend's Jeep. And I have the axle. I don't know, something about it just doesn't. Everything I've seen, everybody's told me, and everything I've watched is like, this is super simple. It should not take that long. More than, like, the longest part should be taking the fucking goddamn old axle off.
Yeah.
And it's a wishbone axle. I'm sure you know what that means.
Yeah.
But I'm just, like, super paranoid about it. And I don't really know why. I have somebody that's going to help me that knows a whole lot about it. So I
still remember the day that you called me and told me you bought that.
Yeah.
Like, I just bought a whatever year Jeep, and I was like, God damn it, Vince. Doc.
So.
Frickin', I was at my ex-girlfriend's Mormon grandparents' house. Said God damn it right in front of all of them.
So I think that's the only thing that's wrong with it. Like, and it's bent because some fucking dumbass pulled something too heavy with it. So.
Or did they jump it?
No, they pulled something too heavy. Because it's bent like that. It's not bent down or up. It's bent back, like if you would yank something. So.
Okay.
So, but I have the axles. In fact, somehow I ended up with 2 of them. I ordered one and they sent me 2. So I don't know what that means.
Well, I mean, hey, that's not a bad thing. It's a Jeep. You'll need spare parts.
Oh my God! Shut the fuck up. I love that Jeep. I'm gonna be so sad to get rid of mine, but at the same time, I'm kind of excited about it. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still remember driving that thing 7 hours back home after we just drove 7 hours away.
I will never forgive Alex for that shit in my life.
Never, oh no,
not
never.
Once will I ever forgive her for that. So
I still remember,
like, he helped me move in Wyoming from one place to another, and we rented a U-Haul and took everything else in my Jeep. And I have a Wrangler 2-door, so not a whole lot goes in that thing. And Brew drove the U-Haul, and I drove the Jeep. We unloaded. It took us, 3 days to load it?
Yeah, 3 days.
And me and Brew unloaded it in, I don't know, under an hour.
Mainly because we were unmotivated to load it in the first place. That's why it took 3 days.
Yeah, I agree. And we had an extra help. Jesse came and helped us.
Yep.
And we had to. I moved out of a 3-story apartment. I lived on the 3rd floor. That was the other part, or 2nd floor.
2-story.
Yeah.
They don't have 3-story buildings in Wyoming. Come on.
That's right.
Quit lying to the good people on the internet.
And then we drove all the way to my new place, and it was fucking colder than a ball sack there.
7-hour drive.
Unloaded that shit in less than an hour, everything. And then I was like, I asked you, I was like, all right, can we, what was it? It had to be midnight when we got done.
It was 1 a.m.
And you were like, she wants me to come back. I was like, and I wanted to punch you in the fucking face for making me do that shit. Oh
no.
Fucking terrible.
I remember, because you made me drive a lot of the way back so you could sleep.
Yeah.
So you could wake up and turn around and drive back again.
Yep.
I never have told you this, but in between, there's that one.
You gonna tell me you almost killed us? Is that what you're
gonna tell? Yeah. haven't told you this until this day, but I figured a great day for you to learn is the same day the internet learns.
Oh Jesus!
So there's that big, huge, long stretch of highway just after Casey.
Going up the hill.
Yep, I fell asleep.
Oh.
I woke up 30 minutes later, and we were the only thing that had changed was we were in the left lane instead of the right lane of our side of the interstate.
Jesus
so I did pretty damn good, but
Jesus Christ.
That's when I pulled over at the rest area. It was I need to take a break. I need to have a cigarette. I need to wake up a little bit.
That was a fucking terrible day. It was fucking terrible. I didn't really want to move there anyways. That was the thing. And then I was 6 hours away from the closest person that I knew.
Yeah.
In this brand new, I was in this new town, and it was fucking just one horse. It's like Mayberry in the fucking woods is what that place is.
Population 12.
Oh my god. It ended up being a cool place to live, especially in the summer. I was able to ride my motorcycles all over the fucking place.
I still remember you commented hey, have you ever been to so-and-so? Yeah. You like it? Never go back.
So yeah, we drove all the way back 7 hours, and then I turned around and drove all the way back 7 more hours. Oh my god, I was exhausted.
21 hours of driving for you.
Never again. Never again. Yeah,
I still remember the check engine light came on.
Oh, on the U-Haul going up that pass.
Yep.
I remember that
shit.
Yep. Yeah, when I moved away, I paid there was a paid move, so thank fucking God for that. So.
Yeah, God knows I wasn't driving your ass all the way out there.
You came and visit me once, right? While I was there?
Twice. Well, I came to visit you once. You came and got me twice.
Oh, okay.
And then you came up here to visit me a bunch.
Yeah. So I'm telling you, that was one of the best. We talked about last week. That motorcycle trip that we took, just the day trip, that was awesome. Oh
yeah, that was sweet. Like I said, I need to get into my own place first, but I'm gonna buy a bike so we can do that again.
Yeah. I'm really looking forward to spring. I think this week me and Buffy are gonna go hiking somewhere here.
Mm-hmm.
We want to go, right, babe? Still want to go? We can't go tomorrow though, because it's gonna be too fucking cold. She'll be a popsicle up in the woods. So. I'm not carrying you anywhere. But yeah, so I definitely looking forward to the spring. We're gonna go to the beach, take the camper and go to the beach for a week.
Hell yeah!
I want to go to the Grand Canyon, but I don't know if it's gonna work. And then we want to take the bike trip this summer too, so we'll do that. I'll probably take a 4-wheeling trip too. Just go take the camper and go somewhere and 4-wheel around. So
yeah.
So looking forward to
Heck
that.
yeah.
But so let's see. I think we've covered all our topics.
I think so.
Got anything else you want to add to tonight's episode?
Not really.
We got Timmy Indy's on next week. Big time streamer. He's actually in the middle of doing a 24-hour, 20-year anniversary to Super Mario Kart and Super Smash Brothers. So I think he's like 17 hours in. He was looking pretty strong when I checked on him before the show. So, but he'll be on next week. I'm looking forward to that. That'll be cool. And then
Hell yeah.
a couple weeks after that, we'll have the other guests that we talked about last week. So.
Yep.
Any SHOT Show's going on right now, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
You gonna have some big news for us next week?
I'm hoping so. I'm watching the stuff slowly come out.
Well, good.
Slowly release.
So, I think next year we should try to go. I think we really should.
I would love to.
So.
Hey, I got to step away for just a minute.
Yep. All right. So we'll end the show there. Thanks for everybody tuning in. You can catch the show on any of your favorite podcasting apps and on YouTube. Remember to think for yourself and motherfucking question everything. Catch you next time.